Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fearless Influencer Podcast. And I am so excited for another episode here. And I've got this amazing, awesome, cool lady who I just happened to meet like maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And her and her husband were at this event that I was speaking at. And she happened to be one of the speakers. And I said, man, she's just too cool. So I just want to say hello to Gwen Stasio. What's up?
So I'm like, it's like fangirl moment podcast. Yes, let's do it.
Well, I'm so excited to have you. And I'm meeting you at the event. I just thought you're one of the coolest people. Your husband is awesome too. And you guys are just good people. So, well, I'm excited to have you. You've been killing it in the marketing space for a while. And let's talk a little bit about your background. What's your story? Tell us a little bit about how you got into this digital marketing thing.
Well, I'm not a marketer by trade. So, I went to school for audiology, which is hearing science. So I was testing hearing on kids and adults, fitting hearing aids, fitting assistive devices for the classroom, like an entire medical field of which I slowly started to feel like I didn't really have control over, number one, my time working in an office for a busy ENT. And then number two, my money. I felt like I had to fight for every single part of my salary, even though my boss needed me and I needed him and we were a team, and never felt like that kind of situation at work. And I had just had a baby and had this like monster realization that there were people online making money, like not going to an office, not using their degree that they went to school for. They were like helping people in the online space. And my mind was blown seeing that, because number one, my guidance counselor definitely didn't tell me about that, right? Like nobody at the job fair was like, hey, there's this thing called the internet and people are marketing online and making money. So I had no idea this whole world existed, and that just like it imploded for me. And I saw so many possibilities of being able to do something that I really, really love. And also like having more time, having control over my finances. And so that started like this deep dive into the digital world and just, seeing what was out there
A rabbit hole.
Deep, dark rabbit. There's so many
Yeah.
you can get to the bottom and then there's like a secret tunnel.
Right.
Yeah. And so it fascinated me because it was different than what I had been told I had to do. And I don't like being told what I have to do.
I think that's the hallmark of a good entrepreneur.
I think so too.
Being told what to do.
Yeah.
I want to go on vacation, but you got to get permission first.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. That was kind of the way it was for me too when I got started. Like it wasn't even about the big fancy house and the Bentley and all that. I could care less about that. I just wanted like choices.
Yes.
I feel you. I totally feel you there.
Yeah.
So okay, so you go down the rabbit hole. You're looking at, things, and how did you kind of land on something, because obviously there's so much out there, there's so many choices and all that. So
Yeah.
how did you kind of land where you?
Well, I had a friend who had talked about creating a toxin-free home for her family. And I had just had a baby. So my mind was, all about that space.
Yeah.
Ordered from her, didn't think anything about it, didn't know anything about what she was doing or how this even worked. I just thought she sent me a link and I ordered, lo and behold, this was a network marketing business. And again, I didn't know what that was. But when I started to look into network marketing and see, what that actually looked like, which really is just digital marketing for a product that's not yours, right?
Yeah.
And it was a good product and I loved it and it worked great. So that piqued my interest. I started asking her a million questions. I started talking to my friends about it. And lo and behold, I had started to build this network marketing business, and I made a deal with myself. I said, okay, Gwen, like you can do this, but you can't leave your job until you are consistently making the same amount of money in this network marketing thing as you are in the office. And
Yeah.
so, 3 years later, I said, bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm going to work for myself. And I left my job. It was perfect timing. It was enough time for me to like navigate, figure stuff out, read a little bit, see what was possible. And then also kind of build a little bit of trust in myself, because my parents weren't entrepreneurs. I didn't have this like in my blood. I kind of had to figure it out from the get-go. So
Yeah.
3 years was a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's that's good for anybody that really wants to go full time. I mean, unless you're consistently making enough to cover what you need to, you shouldn't be thinking about going full time. Like, and there is power in the part-time story also.
Sure.
I think it's, building that side gig is a big thing, and so that's awesome. I love to hear that. And so, okay, so you kind of quit your job and, you're like, okay, now where do you go?
Yeah, quit my job, go home. I had my second baby at that point. So now I've got 2 kids, right? And all of a sudden my network marketing business takes a nosedive. That was a huge panic moment for me because now I didn't have a job. I had this network marketing thing that was like kind of outside of my control. Network marketing is kind of tough because so much of your business relies on other people doing their business. And when they're not, you're up a creek. Um, so I tried and failed at multiple things after that. I tried to launch a coaching business. I tried my sister and I got into business with each other doing like a yoga and essential oils thing company. I will never do that again. I did a lot of things to try and figure out. So I kind of went back and forth and actually landed in another network marketing company, health and wellness again, and got by with it. It wasn't anything that was like, mind blowing, and it can be. And I've seen people do, it just like something about it just didn't feel like I was exactly where I was supposed to be at that time. That was like 2000 and
Yeah.
around 2021. Yeah.
So you kind of ended up in affiliate marketing. Is that kind of?
And yeah. And because I think I realized like, okay, this is okay, but I just don't want to I don't want to do the network marketing thing anymore. What else is out
Yeah.
there? Late night TikTok
Yeah.
scrolling, see somebody talking about something else. And I don't know about you, Mark, and I
Yeah.
think you're the same way as I am, but when I see something and I have interest in it, I don't piddle paddle. Like I'm like, all right, let's go check this out. Like
Hey, jump in.
jump in because I'm not going to waste any time. PM at night, I'm jumping into this training from my bed. And I just had this inkling that this was going to teach me the skills that I had been looking for 8 years.
Yeah.
And really how to market and how to show up online and how to be in the digital space and actually make an income that could support my family. And that was at that time affiliate marketing. And it's still part of my story and still
Yeah.
things I do too.
Yeah, it's powerful. And why I love asking this because like you hearing your journey, and the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. Like it is, I think some people think like once you make it, you're just there, it's over, it's done, you hit the pinnacle and you're good. No, it's like you're just on the upswing right now. But there's valleys,
Yeah.
that's entrepreneurship, there's peaks
Yeah.
and valleys. And, I think it's a powerful part of your story, it sounds like.
It is, and what's funny is, like, I kind of think of it like the stock market because you can be in the stock market day to day and be like, "Oh my gosh, things are going up today." And then the next day it's like things are way down and you could literally drive yourself insane. But if you pull back and you take like this 30,000-foot view and you see the year instead of like the day to day, it's gone up. But when you're in it and you're just like everything feels up and down. So that's kind of how I feel about entrepreneurship. I don't know if you can agree with this.
Oh, absolutely. I think sometimes you get so involved in the granular stuff, you stop and you forget to look at the big picture, see how far you've come.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the interesting part about it. And I remember this from many years ago, but I just remember this, many people, Mike Dillard, I don't know if you know who Mike Dillard is, but he was a big,
Oh,
big marketer, back in the day, still is, still a big marketer, great guy. And, I heard him say one time, and he said, the successful entrepreneur don't have emotional responses one way or the other. They make $1,000 and their emotions are like this. They make zero, their emotions are like that. It was something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but that stuck with me because I was like, yeah, I always love getting $1,000 commission or, selling something, making $500. That's great. I love that. But, the key is being able to remain stable. And I thought, that's an important part. And you're kind of hitting on that.
Yeah, it's like a regulated nervous system,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Being able to rein it in and it just instead of freaking out, it made me think of another thing. I just went kayaking this weekend with my wife and daughter and a bunch of friends and actually realized I just headed into a metaphor when I was kayaking. Like I was like, metaphor, or we're kayaking down the river and there's this big rock ahead. And I realize, oh crap, I'm about to hit this thing. And I'm looking at the rock and I'm like, and what did I do? I hit the damn rock. And then later on, same thing happened, but I didn't look at the rock. I looked where I wanted to go, and that's where I went. And I thought, oh my gosh, total metaphor.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is many times when people have their problem, they're so focused on the problem, they just keep driving deeper into the problem.
Yeah.
Instead of like, let's look where we're going, and so that we don't go deeper into the problem. And that was like what hit me when I was out on the river on Sunday.
When that happens.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so true. And also like looking at other people's success and paddling towards that rather than taking your own pathway that's meant to be your pathway.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Following footsteps for sure. So okay. So you find your product, your affiliate marketing products and stuff. So how did you become like this freaking Instagram rock star? Like
I can tell you what it was. It was
yeah,
years of failing at
yeah,
Instagram in order to finally figure out what is it that actually works.
yeah,
In network marketing, there's a lot of trainings, there's a lot of gurus, there's a lot of people telling you, this is how I did it. You have to do it this way. And me being like, I just want to be like that person. You listen to everything that everyone says and you think that that's like gospel. But what I realized was that I think a lot of people in the beginning of network marketing had a lot of success because of luck. Like they just landed in the right place at the right time. Not that they didn't do hard work. I know they did hard work, but there was a time and a place where things kind of took off, and so it's hard for someone who had that experience to then turn around and try to teach other people because it's really not like what they did. It was just like, well, I was in the right place at the right time.
yeah.
But I had been posting on social media since 2015. And what I had heard from people was like, share your life. Oh, you're going out to dinner, like take a picture, share your life, just show people who you are. And that didn't really work.
Yeah.
So what I finally realized after years and years of trying to grow social media, and I think I was at like 4,000 followers on my account on Instagram after 8 years. What I realized is that your account has to be something that is very specific for people to want to follow you for. Like if it's just a whole bunch of like, I'm a wholesome human and, sometimes we do this and like, there's no point to it. There's no like, yeah, that's nice, Gwen, but like, there's no reason for someone to want to follow along your journey. And so I started to really understand like, who am I talking to? What are they needing? And how do I help them solve that problem? And that became like a constant conversation on my social media
Yeah.
and really helped me kind of like take off and connect with a lot of people.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love I love your coffee chat in the morning.
I love my coffee chat.
I know.
It's
I like here she is raising a cup of coffee, giving a little short wisdom, and it's like, it's
like humor. Sometimes it's like, ooh, that was a gut punch, but I needed
yeah.
it. And sometimes it's just like, cheers. Like I know most people are sitting down having their cup of coffee. So we're just going to cheers to that in the morning.
Oh, and that's what I think is so cool about it because it's like it is that little drop of wisdom with a cool little background shot or whatever. But I dig that, and it's relatable too, which I think is
Mhm.
okay. So let's talk a little bit about so talking specifically about what they want to hear or whatever. But so what's kind of like, do you have a specific type of content that you decide you're going to post every day? I mean, obviously the coffee chat, I see you every day, but is there like a deeper strategy there too? Like, do you drop, business things where you get engagement, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always thinking before I post, and yes, I do have a content strategy. I'm going to come back to that. But before I post, I'm thinking like, okay, does my audience, the people who I want to bring into my life, into my world, are they going to care about this? Like, is this helpful? Is this funny? Is this relatable? Is this enough for someone to want to take action? And if it's not, it's kind of like moot point. That's kind of a pointless.
Yeah.
It would be better if I just didn't post because it's just a filler at that point. So I do have a strategy where, it's not all or nothing. It's not like every post needs to ask for engagement and every post needs to be like, oh, grab my free guide and,
Right.
message me for more info. It really is kind of like a dance of showing people like, hey, I've been where you were. I've taken these steps to move this way, and these are the results that it's got me. And now I want to help you get those same results. So there's a lot of like, here's who I am, here's my story, so you can relate and know we've been in the same place. Here's some steps that I've taken that have helped me get here, and I'm offering those same things to you. And then also here's just some relatable so that you could be like, oh, I'm like her, and
Yeah.
she's like me, and we're like kind of full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think that is like one of the things I've noticed too, like even with my social media, like I've been sharing lately about on Facebook about my health journey.
which I love, by the way.
As of right now, like as of this podcast, I'm down 51 pounds, but
It's
my
amazing.
goal is 100. But they're the most engaged posts I got on face. Oh my gosh, like it's crazy.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's interesting to note, and you start looking at that, you're like, okay, because there's times where I'll post something business wise and it's like crickets,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like, where the heck did all these people come from?
And like with that being said too, every platform is so different, don't you think?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that post can do so well on Facebook, and then you turn around, you put it on Instagram and it's crickets. And you're like, what the? So there's almost that like needing to understand, yes, you have an ideal audience that you're speaking to, but how are they showing up on this social media versus how are they showing up here? And how can I like just move my content a little bit different so
yeah.
that it relates on those different platforms?
Yeah. Yeah, and it is because each platform has a different feel to it. It's
Mhm.
like, I kind of learned a lesson, I don't know, a couple years ago, and I remember kind of like, and I still don't really my main platform is Facebook. That's where I put a lot of focus because
Yeah.
but Instagram I've been doing a little bit more on lately. But I just remember thinking, those dang link trees, man, those got to be conversion killers. But the more and more I started like cuz to me I'm like so like the less steps, the
Yeah.
better, like the less clutter, the better. That's always the way I think. But then I was like, in the ecosystem of Instagram, people are used to that. Like that's,
That's true.
you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, I don't know, I've just changed my thinking a little bit on that because if they're used to that, most people are used to seeing, that kind of stuff over there.
Yeah.
Whereas Facebook, you don't really see that.
Right. Exactly. It's just a different
It's a
animal.
different, yeah, it's a different animal. It's
Yeah.
exactly that.
Yeah.
So, and I think, you see that a little bit on TikTok too. So,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
A very different animal.
Yeah. So, okay, awesome. So your kind of focus is create the content, you have an offer, and obviously, we've chatted back and forth quite a bit about your email list, and I know you've been
Mhm.
really focused on that. I got that text from the other day, like I just deleted 12,000 people off my list.
Hey, you come on. Hey, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, I know. And but so obviously you're putting huge emphasis on your email list too.
Yeah. And I will tell you that that is one thing that I think stopped me from being more successful in network marketing is I wasn't building an email list. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to use email. I didn't know how to use a CRM, like a customer management system. No idea. And I feel like nobody was really talking about that in that space. It was a very important thing that I implemented, when I came into this digital marketing stint in 2023, just understanding how to nurture your audience in
Yeah.
multiple different places, but especially on email. I'm dead. Email's like the best thing out there. It's like,
It's crazy when I hear people say email's not dead. Like, yeah, I like but before we came on, I'm just like, no, you just suck at it. That's all.
yeah,
That's
no,
it.
no, you're just doing a really bad job.
Yeah. And but yeah, and I mean that's such a key because heck, you don't know. You could wake up one day and your Instagram account is gone. And
Sure, and
all
I've
the
seen that
followers
happen. Yes, and I've seen that happen so many times, and, it's very hard to come back from that if that's your only.
exposure method.
Yeah, yeah. At least now I could email my list and be like, "Hey, by the way, you, like, just lost my TikTok.
Yeah.
Here's my new tip is, like, come follow
Right.
me."
Right. Right. And that's one thing too. Like I've always kind of taught with the email list is use your email list to prime your social accounts. Like
Mhm.
use that as a great way. Like, if you're running like a Facebook group and you really want to juice it, send an email out to people. Hey, I just posted something in the group and
Yeah,
you're going to want to see this,
yeah,
whatever. And you get a
yeah.
whole bunch of people over there and, it's a great way to kick up the algorithm and get it going.
So true. There's so many, I mean, you know this because you teach this every day, and I'm just kind of learning about email, but it really has been a game changer in my business. And I think that what I've learned over the process of what we'll call failing, which really isn't failing, it's just lessons, right? But having lessons is being able to how do you put yourself out there to gain trust from people? Like how do you make that happen? And I think above all else, because your people trust you, right? Like you get people reply to your emails, you get people ask you questions. So I think that above all, it's not like you're just using your email to like promote the next best thing. And people see that
Yeah.
and they really value that.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I think today trust is,
Uh,
it is the number one currency you need to build
for
because
sure.
there is so much. I mean, my gosh, just today I've gotten 3 spam texts. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
I mean, I get them every day. Like the scammers are out there in abundance
Yeah.
and people need to know, like, and that's why I'm so big on like doing video. I just sent out an email today to my list saying, it's basically here's why AI has nothing on you when it comes to video marketing. And yes, there are apps out there now that actually can take you and like, create a video with your face but it's so obvious it's AI. It'll probably get better and better. But the truth is like people want to connect with other humans as much as other humans may annoy them at times. Well, we all have that moment, if you really love people and you're putting yourself out there on video, you're going to make a connection that AI simply cannot do. And
I agree.
that's where I believe, all of this is heading we're like full circle, it's like, 15, 20 years ago, the Wild West of the internet, people were buying stuff left and right. And then they realized, oh, there's scammy people out there and they got wiser, and we're in a very wise environment now where people can be very careful who they buy
Yeah,
from.
I agree.
So yeah, the trust thing is big, but so awesome. So Gwen, where do you think you're headed in the next 5 to 10 years?
I've had this big idea for a lot of years. And in the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, there have been times where I'm like, okay, well, that's just not for me. I guess like let's move on and do the next best thing. But I'm coming back around to this coaching business. I love helping humans figure out what they're passionate about and how to monetize it. Gone are the days where I think, I think people are opening their eyes to the possibilities that the digital space holds for them. And the university that I went to an 8-year doctorate program. It has closed its doors. A big university in Boston has closed its doors on its program. And so for me, that's just like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Giant university that charges a lot of money closes its doors. So, we're just starting to see this path of there's a lot of education out there that we can get for free. There's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge that are sharing education. Like it is endless. So with all that being said, I'm creating my own course, creating a coaching platform, and I really just want to be able to help women find themselves again and do something that makes them money that's actually fun and enjoyable.
Yeah. That's what it's all about too. If you don't enjoy it, you're not having fun. It doesn't matter. Have you ever heard of Vanessa Lau? You ever follow her? So
Yeah.
anyway, she was a big entrepreneur and I still follow her now, but she was just killing it in the digital world. Got so burnt out and she just up and said, I'm done. I mean, and to see her, she's come back and sharing her story and her story of growth and everything that. But what I love about her story is she's just so honest and real that, hey, I was building a business that I hated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's very important to do what you love. Don't just do it for the money. Like the money is sure, I want to make a lot of money. But if you start doing it for the money as the sole reason, at some point you're going to you're going to cross and you're going to be like, I don't find this valuable anymore. Even though I'm making a lot of money, I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
The whole goal is to make a lot of money and enjoy it.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. So that's an important thing to know. So
Yeah.
Gwen, where can people catch you? I know on Instagram, is it She Lived a Good Life, right? Is that what it is?
She
Yeah.
lived a good life on Instagram.
Yeah.
I try to keep all my platforms the same. I am dabbling in YouTube a little bit. I've got, a couple of things going there. I think my YouTube is by my name, so Clear States. But I want to learn more about video. I want to learn about long form video. I was, before we got on this call, I was like bugging Mark. Teach me all you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to dive more into you, but really my platform's Instagram. I love it there. I can chat with people, have a connection, create a community. And I've also got this little mentorship space where we've got some really great people who are trying to figure out how to create content.
Yeah.
And like, I love that space. People are doing so well in there and it makes my heart so happy.
Yeah. That's it, man. If it fulfills you and it's worth it, it makes every day worth it. So I love that. And forgot to mention, you're a wife and mother, right? Yes. Your husband's a firefighter, right?
Yes, he is.
Wow.
Yeah. They're, that job is kind of like, it's kind of like the digital marketing world. Like no
Yeah.
one really tells you what it's really like. And then you're in it. And oh, this is a different game than I thought we were playing.
Wow.
But it's all good. It's, you don't realize how much time you spend by yourself when your husband's a firefighter, or your spouse is a firefighter.
Got to get up at 2 a.m. to go.
It's just a different life, but digital marketing has allowed us to roll with that.
Yeah.
And so the beautiful thing about it is he gets to do what he loves and I get to do what I love. So
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Well, Gwen, I am so excited I had you on. Gwen Stasio, not Stasio.
It's both, whichever way it works for you.
Or Gvir, whichever you want to say, Gwen or
I'll
Gwen.
answer. Yeah.
Well, it's been so awesome having you on, and I love your energy. I love what you put out there. Just so much positivity, and it's so great to get to know you and just watch you. I mean, I love how you do your content. So I highly encourage anybody listening to go follow Gwen on Instagram and watch what she does. At She Lived a Good Life, right? Yeah, cool.
Thanks.
And there was a little story about that, right? We changed that. What was that little story before we head off?
So, okay, so when I first started in the digital space, my username was financially free with Gwen until I realized that that didn't really have a meaning. Like, what is financially free? I don't know. And I have had this, where is it? This tattoo on my vision board. She lived a good life for a long time because, very long story short, I was sitting on the edge of a infinity pool and it dropped way off at the other side. And my friend looked at me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, what would happen if you fell off of this infinity pool and like didn't make it?" And I said, "Well, at least people would say she lived a good life." And that's kind of become like my life motto. Like, and you can just say, if you were not here tomorrow, would
Yeah.
people say about you that you lived a good life? And if that's the answer, I think like you've done your job, right? You've lived the life that you actually want to live. So
I love that. It carries so much more meaning.
it does. It does.
There's
Yeah.
a lot more heart there. You can feel it. Yeah. When you said financially free, I'm like, yeah, okay. Then you said she lived to go. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah. It's a tattoo of screens. You know what I mean?
that's
Like you
it.
put
That's
that on
it.
your body.
I felt it. I felt it. Well, Gwen,
No,
you're awesome, man. I
thank you.
really appreciate you, and thanks for coming out and spending a little time with me and
I appreciate
with
you
the
too,
audience.
Mark.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys, there you go. Go follow Gwen, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.